Holy shit!
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
So after the Resident Evil remake didn't win me over and even actually disappointed me, I thought about stopping to play the franchise for now. But curiosity got the better of me and I started the next one. After all, it would have been a reunion with my boy Leon S. Kennedy on his first day on the force. So I'm asking the question now, is Resident Evil 2 Remake really as good as people say, or is it another disappointment for me? Let's start with the story. Leon starts his first day in the Raccoon City Police Department, and even before he enters the precinct, everything goes downhill. At a gas station he encounters a couple of zombies, and eventually Claire Redfield, who is looking for her brother, Chris. Together they enter the city and find it in ruins. The Walking Dead are roaming the streets, and they both try to find shelter in the precinct.
Shit. It's everybody. They've all turned.
In my first playthrough, I chose Leon, as I was curious how his first day went. And, well... it was a blast.
Chew on that, you overgrown son of a bitch.
Resident Evil 2 is kind of brilliant and a very good mix of survival horror and action, leaning more into the survival horror genre. Ammo is scarce, enemies are plenty and quite spongy. A headshot doesn't always lead to a dead zombie, and critical hits are a matter of luck. This can be annoying, but in my opinion it's balanced out just well enough to not being annoying. The direct controls are a breath of fresh air after Resident Evil 0 and the Resident Evil remake. The inventory and the ability to find hip pouches and expand your inventory are pretty cool and highly necessary. Leon finds a couple of guns which can be upgraded. His pistol can be transformed into an MP basically. The shotgun can be turned into a devastating pump action, and there is a flamethrower later on. While similar to the two previous games, there is a starting area which the player will explore for the majority of the game, meaning the police precinct. We will later explore some sewers and of course a lab. The precinct is also so big and varied that I actually didn't mind. I also wasn't lost as often as with the previous two games, and even when I was lost it was mostly because I was under stress, as I was chased by monsters, or I got lost by accident. In both cases it was my fault, and not the game's fault, because every corridor looks the same. I thoroughly enjoyed Leon's story and the gameplay. Even the giant animal monster here is improved with a crocodile or alligator in the sewers, which looks ferocious and is an absolute monster. I feel like there are some parts missing in the story though, especially the ending. So I did something I do rarely these days. I replayed the game, and that right after I had finished it with Leon. The second run I did with Claire. See, there's the possibility to replay the game. This time I choose her point of view. Just to let you know, it's not completely a new experience. You replay some portions that you already played in the first run, and those are one for one the same as you have with Leon. But other parts they changed, and I think they changed up enough to keep it interesting, and it's actually quite good the way it is, to be honest. Claire has also different weapons, mostly more inaccurate but faster firing weapons, like an army Colt, an MP and a pistol, but also very different guns like an electric bolt gun and her revolver. These guns can also be upgraded, and the revolver can even shoot stronger ammo. Both characters will also visit areas which are unique to them. Leon is longer in the sewers and Claire is in the orphanage. Both characters also meet different companions. Leon will meet Ada Wong for the first time, and Claire will meet Sherry Birkin.
Hello? Hey. It's okay.
The fight against
Won't hurt you,
Mr.
I
X
promise.
and William Birkin is also different. I want to point out here that Mr. X is actually intimidating in the game, despite being a big, stupid grey zombie in a trench coat with a hat, which I shot off him a couple of times. He is an intimidating presence, and while I would usually be annoyed by characters like him, for some reason, am not here. He is huge, he has to bend to go through doors, you hear his footsteps when he is nearby, and I found myself often waiting for him to pass. And there are moments when he always finds you. He also often beats the shit out of you. Surprisingly, the first hit doesn't cause too much damage though, and you can try to run away. Playing with Claire was more action-packed, and either because of the second playthrough or because I ran through the game on my second run, I was often without ammo in the beginning of her story, but later on I was usually good to go. Sure, sometimes I was kind of pissing away ammo, but I usually always defeated the enemy in the end. With the second story playthrough, you will also get the whole ending, which is nice, even though I have to say that I have some issues with the story and presentation, even though I enjoyed it in general. I mean, the graphics and animation are great, but, and this will probably sound a bit weird, I thought the acting was kind of bad at times. I mean, there's too much smiling going on. Leon and Claire being flirty while zombies are surrounding them at the precinct is weird.
Claire! It's so nice to see you.
How are you doing? That helicopter just came out of
Yeah.
nowhere.
I'm in one piece.
I'm guessing you don't have a key in one of those fancy pockets?
Unfortunately, no. But how are you doing?
You know, just surviving.
That's good.
Yeah.
Any luck with your brother?
No, not yet.
I mean, they are seeing rotten zombies and monsters devouring people. They are blowing off heads and are fighting for their lives. But still walk around smiling and flirting. It just feels a bit inappropriate. As I said, Claire's playthrough was more action-packed. Sometimes I had to run and gun through areas and just try to reach the next room or area, like when I was getting from the precinct to the orphanage. So both playthroughs were pretty good. I also played them on normal, mostly because I didn't want to be reliant on ink for saving as it was in the previous two games, a necessity, and here you also needed it on hardcore mode. But in the second playthrough it was still challenging enough, and I really looked up every locker and safe, and checked every corner in the area for useful items. So this was already a pretty good experience, as it was still kind of tense. It seems that I bought the deluxe edition, as I had most DLCs already available, so I could change the costumes and play the Ghost Survivor missions. These are pretty good, I would say, but also pretty tough. Truth be told, I finished them only in practice mode, as I didn't want to invest the time to get good in those minigames. And that's not the game's fault. I mean, it's supposed to be tough, and this time I just wanted to see the story. Practice mode is a breeze, but the actual mode is pretty difficult for Ghost Survivors. There's also one mode which unlocks once you finish the other ones. And there is also the fourth survivor mode, in which you play as Hunk. And while it's fun, it is also seemingly more difficult than the other Ghost Survivor modes. And fighting all these plant zombies at the end is just annoying to me. As long as I don't have a flamethrower, I could just shoot off the weak spots. But as these monsters can one-hit you when you don't have defensive weapons, I don't even want to bother, at least for now. I will also play as an umbrella operative in another game, and this is just extra, so I don't mind not finishing it, at least for now. But it's not that bad, and with a bit of practice, one can probably get through there also quickly. Resident Evil 2, the remake, is a great game. It's a lot of fun, it's tense, it's brutal at times, the graphics and animation are great, the story overall is pretty good and engaging, and surprisingly varied, even on the second playthrough. There are a lot of secrets, a lot to discover and a lot of bonus content. I really enjoyed my time playing this and would recommend this to everyone who likes horror games. I am actually thinking about giving this one a perfect score 10 out of 10, but I think I will give it a 9 out of 10, at least for now. Maybe I will replay it at some point, but for now it will be a 9. Think of it as a 9.5 out of 10. I will still continue and play a couple more Resident Evil games in the near future, but I have also some other reviews prepared, which will maybe come in between those Resident Evil reviews. Also, there are only a couple of Resident Evil games left until I make the first break and continue the franchise a little bit later. Just so you know.